Hello there, beautiful people. It is Joshy T here with the very first episode of the reboot of the Otaku Crypt Podcast. This is going to be a hopefully weekly or semi-weekly podcast with me and some friends and various cosplay guests, anime enthusiasts, pretty much anybody who is, involved in this community with something interesting to say about the issues facing us, general fun stories. It's just going to be, a fun platform for discussion, and I really look forward to it. This first episode features myself, Joshy T, and a dear friend of mine, Miss Patty Pat, as we like to call her, and we talk about various things, origin of anime conventions, what they were like 10 years ago, what original distribution of anime on home video was like, Pat's time in New Zealand, in the area where they filmed The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings movies, and just the general wackiness that is like, and just series we've been watching, and just a general convention and anime musings. It's a really fun discussion, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Just a little bit of housekeeping. You can always find us on our various forums, facebook.com/Otaku Crypt. Our Twitter is @Otaku Crypt, as well as on Instagram. Got it across all the platforms, which is always great. Hopefully we will have the website, otakucrypt.com, back up within a month or two, and there will be our videos, of course, this podcast, costuming tutorials, feature photo shoots. It's going to be great. I've really been wanting to try and get away from Facebook because, as many of you know, it is kind of a bad closed system that they control because of, advertising setup and revenue streams and all of that. So hopefully you will see that soon, and you can find my guest today. Her Facebook page is Pat TCH. But I will include those links down below in the post and in the video description. So, give this a listen. I hope you enjoy, and let us know what you think. The very first episode of the Otaku Crypt Podcast. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Joshy T, the host and pretty much only one who works on the Otaku Crypt, despite its original intention. This is kind of a reboot of the podcast, which we attempted to do once on Twitch. It was awful because of my terrible internet. We were lagging on ourselves, but this is something I've always wanted to do, so we're getting it going again with better sound equipment. There are actual microphones and everything. Semi-professional here. My guest today was on the original run of the Otaku Crypt that was god-awful hour-long videos on Vimeo. One camera, no editing, us just talking and referring to notes directly on camera. She is a dear friend who helped influence my tastes in high school, maybe for the worse. She is a master cosplayer. And again, just a dear friend, and I am here with dear friend Patty Pat. How are you?
I'm good. Hi.
She is very nervous about the whole podcast thing. She doesn't know what she's going to be saying, but
it's in her face.
we're just having a chat and having a time. Just having good times. It's your old buddy Josh.
Yeah.
But so let's just get right into it, and we'll kind of introduce you to Patty Pat here. She has always been a cosplayer as long as I've known her, and that was the context in which we met. We met through our high school's anime club. Yeah. Were you the VP when I came in?
Yes. I think so.
Under Kichi Sensei?
Yeah.
And
that was a long time ago.
That was good times. I was a naive young 9th grader who pretty much only knew Gundam Wing and Inuyasha because that's what was hot right then.
And on TV. That was the only thing we got on TV.
Exactly. And so, she, in my second year, was the president. And, I remember you kind of kicked things up a notch because your taste in anime was, I think, a little bit heavier than Kitch's.
Yeah. Well, and I had the the luckiness of I had an older brother,
Mhm.
so I was able to get more things, and because she was the oldest, so she couldn't get out, in essence, get anything. Also, her parents didn't approve of anime, so that also didn't really help that in that respect either. So
It's to this day explaining our hobbies to our parents isn't always an ordeal. Like I was just saying earlier, us suddenly coming from downstairs with trays full of things to throw in the oven where we cook the family's food always draws very interesting looks.
I'm very lucky that my parents are just like, oh, she's into technical theater. That's fine. She's normal in that regard.
So on that note, let's kind of talk about that. Definitely an advantage in being a cosplayer and a costumer. You do it professionally, like have formal training on top of everything else.
Yeah, I've worked as a alteration and repair tailor for the past 10 years. So that really helped. And I did that before I went to college, and I went to Sheridan for technical theater. And I did the soft props and scenic art and then wardrobe. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely something that's always been very helpful in that.
Yeah, like this is pretty much everything you do.
Yeah.
And and she's pretty much always been, you have always been one of the best cosplayers I have known. Just basically, you were doing crazy things before attempting crazy things was cool in cosplay. Namely, you in a 4-foot diameter tube as Genova.
Oh my god, that was so awful.
That was like, this is like, remember, we're, in our mid-20s, so we were around when cosplay was not at all even close to a mainstream thing.
Oh, it was so hard to find things. Like,
yes.
And like explain, like, I need to be blue. Like, it's not Halloween. I know.
yeah. Finding makeup and
then like the wigs were awful. You were just like lucky to find, some sort of costume place, and they didn't really have good quality clothes. Like, they didn't have good quality hair that was not normal people hair. Mm-hmm. So they didn't really carry blue hair or white hair or anything like that. They carried auburn curly hair, and it usually was real human hair. And when you're a 16-year-old that doesn't get paid proper because that paying $500 for a wig doesn't seem likely. So you had to do things like make hair out of yarn and stuff.
Yeah. Basically what we're saying, kids, you're spoiled, is what we're getting at here. Back in our day.
It was, the stuff now is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I am just loving it.
Here we are, flipping out over the fact that Arda is opening a Canadian branch, so we're saving $10 on shipping.
Yeah.
On our $40 wigs that are actually very good.
Yeah. My mom actually borrowed one of my wigs for something that she did, like 70s kind of theme party, and she's like, oh, I had long blonde hair when I was in the 70s. Do you have a wig? And I'm like, oh, do I? So she
choose your highlights.
And she borrowed one, and apparently like all the people there thought it was her real hair, and they were telling her like, oh, you should cut your hair. Your hair is way too long. She's like, it's just a wig.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's regrown.
but yeah, so you were definitely the most ambitious craftsperson that I knew at the time. You walking around in walking around in a tube in a costume.
Yeah.
To be Genova in the tube from Final Fantasy VII. And what was the story we used to tell about that was, if you had the bird's eye view of it, it would have been a circle around you, just the crowd.
Yeah, that was crazy.
You wading through, like, with your was Kitschy and Vida like escorting you basically?
It was actually more Jordan.
It was Jordan, yeah.
Yeah, and Jordan and Halsey really did a lot for that. Mostly, Kirsten and Brittany just got tired because I only moved like 5 steps.
Yeah.
So they got frustrated and left me behind in the sea of people.
So, Jordan, another person, another VP of our anime club, I believe.
Yeah, he was VP for Kirsten, yeah.
Yep, kind of the, at the time, basically the only older otaku I knew. So it was kind of,
unintentional role model. Although, for some reason, his thing was pervy characters.
Oh, yeah, he loved Moroku.
He loved Moroku, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, but yeah, that's pretty much where we all met and started this crazy journey down the rabbit hole that is anime fandom and cosplay. But I said, you've always just been the most ambitious one that I've known, and to this day, like, even though you say you didn't have as much trouble with it as I'm remembering when you did Roast of the Crimson from Dirge of Cerberus,
yeah,
it was...
I didn't have any problems with the shoes.
No.
I think the only thing that was giving me problems was I used foam for the armor on the front, and that was chafing. And and I had a rash all along the side. So that was the only thing that if I went back and did it, I would gut that out and redo it. whereas
I just assumed because you were wearing, like, what was the height on the heels? Were
they're only 3 inch heels.
3 inches. For some reason, I thought they were taller, but
I have 6 3/4 inch heels, and I've worn that a couple times. They have a platform on them too, so the platform's about 2 inches, so they're really only like about 4 and some.
Yeah. But yeah. So you're a pro. You know what you're doing. You know what you're getting into.
Yeah, I always wear comfortable shoes.
Yep. And then, not only on top of ambitious cosplay projects, you were the most daring one I know, and I'm going to tell this story because it's a gem, and you know which one's coming.
Maybe.
For you old school fans who remember a beautiful little show called Slayers, the kind of prequel part to it was the main character Lena and her companion Naga, who basically invented the balloon boobs. Patty Pat dressed up as Naga, so basically cape and bikini.
Yep, thong included.
Thong included.
Yeah.
And so if that wasn't as out there enough as it was, this was early 2000s. Like this was a revealing costume by those standards. It's kind of become more of a thing. But not only did she walk around Anime North like that, she had to take it up a notch still and enter the cosplay chess match, which is a lovely little event where people dressed as characters reenact an actual chess match. And it was beautiful that you were the queen piece.
Yeah, I was the Dark Queen.
You were the Dark Queen. And whenever, a piece got taken out, you did like a little fight scene kill thing. And Patty Pat, how did you kill people? Just do that for us right now.
Oh, God. So I'd walk up to them and I would just go, oh, and then they would die. That's all I did.
It was beautiful. Like I stood there for 4.5 hours. I watched most of this match. It was an actual chess match. It was very slow.
Yeah, it was the first year they ever did it.
Yeah.
So they didn't pre-plan their moves or anything.
Yeah, so, it moved pretty slow, and I watched so much of it because I was dying laughing, just hoping Pat here would get to kill somebody again.
I got to kill Lena.
You got to kill Lena with the Naga laugh, and if I'm not mistaken, your side won.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I was in the check position there for checkmate.
Yeah. So that was fun, and that was me standing off to the side in the second costume I'd ever worn, which was Kasame, the shark guy from Naruto, but no makeup, barely anything done to my hair, sword made out of a fence post.
That was the second time I wore that costume too. I'd worn it the year prior, and I actually do want to redo that costume though.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
That'd be fun.
but oh man, it was just I used plaster for the mantle pieces, and it was so heavy and awful. Oh, I wish we had our materials that we have now.
Again, that's what we've been doing here today is making some costume pieces. Pat has shown me a wonderful new technique using paper mache.
Yeah, the celluclay.
Celluclay for armor, and when we get the website up and going again, which will hopefully be within a month or two, we will post this tutorial because I've only seen this made like a couple pieces, and I can already tell you this is probably one of the best ways I've ever seen to make stuff. Just very simple molds out of plaster strips. Like, this is low cost, but it's going to look amazing. type of stuff. So there will be a tutorial on that once we get the website going that Patty Pat will contribute, because she's just full of gems like that. Like we said, she is a professional, folks.
Yeah. So, I like making different kinds of armor, and I try to find low cost as much as possible because I don't have a giant budget. But I also realize that, I'm only going to be wearing these costumes maybe once or twice or something like that. And I don't want to put like hundreds of dollars into something that I'm not wearing a lot. And I understand that a lot of other people are like that, especially like first time cosplayers. They want to get into it, but they see something like, oh, you can make this out of Warbler, and it's like $80 or something like that. That's a little bit scary. Yeah. And if you're new and you see that, that's kind of like, oh, well, can I really do that when the whole point of cosplay is to have fun? Exactly. So if you're on a budget and that will take away for your fun, then you really need to have new tutorials need to be out there so that the unknown can figure it out. Yeah. This is like amazing for beginners, but this is also going to be master looking work. Like you said, this is a technique you prefer. Yeah. And this is after, trying pretty much everything by this point. Yeah. So yeah, I can't wait to share that, because I already like watching this, and I get, confused with kind of techniques like in cosplay and crafting, and this is simple enough and makes sense, and I can already tell it's going to look good. Like elementary grade, like you can teach this to kids easy.
Exactly. And it's going to be a great look. So we will definitely share that with you. Yeah. But what I kind of want to get into, kind of a funny thing here is, despite you being a cosplayer who's been around since cosplay has been cosplay as we know it, pretty much.
It's fun. I've not even touched. I mean, there's Costume Con. Yeah. And now it was just like the 32 year, 2014. So this is 33 years of just that convention. Yeah. So. But despite, you being you've been in the community and a cosplayer for so long, and yet just now are getting onto social media. Yeah. This was always a funny point with you, is that Pat has not been on Facebook until like 3 weeks ago. Yeah, well, that's kind of like an issue with. I used to live in another country, and that country no longer can use Skype for some mysterious reason. So the only other way I can contact them is through Facebook. So it's unfortunate because now I can't do any audio with them or do like webcam stuff. Right. But at least I can still message them and everything. Yeah. But yeah, we found that funny. And we were talking about this earlier, where we got to talking about the earliest cosplay sites. Yeah. And it just reminds me of like, this is going maybe 10 to 15 years ago. The things we had to do to share cosplay, like like when I first came into our anime club at our high school, the group we attempted to, it didn't go well in practice, but was a good idea in theory. We coordinated through LiveJournal. Oh, it wasn't me. I was on that. No. I just don't do the internet. Yeah. Pat does not internet very much. But we tried to coordinate things through LiveJournal, and then when we all started getting into cosplay, there was pretty much one site, cosplay.com. Yep. Which to this day is still very MySpace in its setup. And we were just kind of talking about how you almost wish that people had stayed there, just because things have become so fractured now. Yeah, it's harder to get people to like, organize. But there it was like, oh, everyone in Canada can see this, and that's what it is. And you could organize like the photo shoots or get-togethers and stuff like that. But now it's all fractioned that like, oh, if you want to get together with the Toronto group, you have to go onto their Toronto page, and you have to find the right one on Facebook or something like that, rather than it all being on one site. So. Yeah, and even more still, like not even just using on Facebook, there's way more cosplay sites now. Like worldcosplay.net started getting a lot of people going over there. Paradise and AC Cosplay Paradise. Yeah, American Cosplay Paradise. And Geek Girls has their own thing too. Oh, really? I know them pretty well, and I've really only been on the site where they kind of feature stuff. I didn't know they had like a forum. They No, I guess they don't really have a forum for them.
No.
But they do go out and you can meet them at cons and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
but they're more they're a wonderful group of girls. I know a lot of them personally.
Yeah.
They're more treated as exhibitors at this point.
Yeah.
Where and a lot of them are part of Cosplay for a Cure.
Yeah.
So
yeah, which is nice too.
which is great. I know a lot of those girls personally. I know the person who runs it, Casey, who is just awesome person. Those are like paragons of the cosplay community. Like every time they go to a convention, they're donating their time to raise money for cancer research, which kind of makes you feel bad for just being out there having fun. It's like, oh, they're in costumes and everything, but they're using it to do good.
Yeah.
But
you can do good by going over there and spending your money.
Exactly. If you are, a Canadian convention goer and Cosplay for a Cure is going to be there, you can go there and just make a donation, anything.
Yeah.
And they always have a photo booth set up.
Yep.
It's always like a great photographer. Sometimes it's I think it's there's Amanda is one of them, and then my friend Chelsea of Elsnore Cosplay Photography. She's officially a geek girl now, so she does it for them sometimes.
Oh.
But that's one of those great groups in our community.
Yeah.
And so I do know a lot of them personally, and I haven't met one of them who hasn't just been like a person who made me feel lazy, not as good a person as I could be. But yeah, so just saying that things are definitely more fractured now.
Yeah.
And you kind of basically being forced onto social media.
Yeah.
Because of, friends that you have overseas.
Yeah.
Which, let's talk about that for a second.
Oh.
It's not particularly anime or cosplay specific, but I do like to say Pat lived in Mordor for a year.
Yes, that was awesome. I snowboard on Mount Doom.
Yeah.
I did that.
So
and I went to Hobbiton.
Yeah, so let's just talk about that for a second. That was a weird year that kind of went by in a flash, where you were in New Zealand.
I was gone.
Yeah, you were there on a work exchange, was it?
It's a working holiday visa. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just all kinds of great stuff happened there. Like the town you were in, the cast was constantly there.
I was in the capital city, which is Wellington, and there's this tiny little peninsula that's connected to Wellington, and it's called Miramar, and I was just in Miramar, and from my flat I could see the 3-story green screen that they use for the Hobbit, and there was various the cast was always there, and we had some of the Lord of the Rings people came into Orlando Bloom came into the cafe that I worked at, and my next door neighbor Martin Freeman tried to save his life. So it was always something was always happening, but it was kind of neat. You could see various things going on because you could peek over and go oh, is that what's going down in the green screen today? And
yeah, it's kind of unintentional sneak peeks that you were getting.
Yeah,
but it was just kind of because you were there, seeing everything happening, and this is just kind of an impression I've gotten. Is it really true that everything kind of in the country, and especially in that specific area, is everything really about those movies, like they say?
Yeah, pretty much anyone, I mentioned, oh, I'm in Miramar, and then people turn around and go oh, you must work for Peter. They don't call him Peter Jackson. They say, oh, you must work for Peter. No, I don't actually work for Peter. I work at the cafe that's there, and some of the Weta people come in there. No.
They just assume being in that town you're working on the film.
Well, my next door neighbor, he was the IT guy for Peter Jackson, his head IT guy, and his wife was the cutter for making the costumes for Lord of the Rings. She was on leave because she had a baby. But, I worked for a day for Peter Jackson technically because I was helping organize his CDs. And I'm not kidding. It's a whole bunch of Photoshop CDs in there. It's this is Photoshop 1, 2, everything. But yeah, no, there's not everyone there worked for Peter Jackson.
No, but the vibe of the country was.
Yeah, and everybody you didn't. It was you couldn't go 3 steps without meeting someone who was really had something to do with Lord of the Rings. Like, I had friends that did, his father was the Foley guy for the movies. I met someone else who did the armor thing. Like, you couldn't go anywhere without meeting someone that had something to do with it. Whether it was like, oh, we brought in the food for the cast, or like, it was
the craft services people are bragging.
Yeah. And it was just, that was just how it worked out. But then there's kind of like a little bit high society with, oh, I worked for Peter Jackson with the Weta. Weta really is quite up there in the, we're very important people.
So like, kind of like a small like microcosm of Hollywood almost happening, but around one film series.
Yeah. And they even they built a Roxy in Miramar just so they could have their premieres there. Oh, wow. For like various movies that were produced by Peter Jackson and stuff like that. Yep. Been there. It was very comfortable seating.
And you brought me back a necklace from there.
Oh yeah, I did, didn't I?
So I got to have it's just a little stone with the tree of Gondor on it, but I get to say like this was actually in Mordor.
I got that from Hobbiton. Yeah,
got it from Hobbiton. And I remember one of the first things you sent me was a picture of Mount Doom.
Oh yeah. Like, look, there it is.
There it is. You're on the train or something.
I was on the bus, probably.
On the bus. And you're like, there's a picture of Mount Doom. And
well, no, I was on the train, too. I went over it. Yeah. Could have been either one.
Just basically a year of Pat living a far more interesting life than all of us. But
I went to various places that were in the movie. Like, where they hid from them in the very beginning in the forest underneath the roots. Found that location.
Nice.
So, there's a bunch of other places, like where the trees come out, like all the forest and everything, the big giant trees.
The Ents,
Yeah, I found that location.
Like the tree line that's cut and they come out?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
And the lake where Sam is meeting up with, where Frodo separates between him, and he's like, no, come back, in a boat.
Right.
Found that place,
Yes, the one right at the end of Fellowship.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Was that just like an adventure you're going to talk about forever?
Yeah, well, I got a book that like had all of them on the map, so we just went to various places.
Oh, that's great. And is a kind of funny related note. Did you you said you follow Gina G, right?
Yeah. Well, I met her way back when at a con, so I don't technically follow her. I've known her.
Well, basically,
cosplay community.
She's a makeup artist and everything too, and so she likes Thorin from Hobbit, Thorin Oakenshield, and she does a full beard and everything.
Yeah, I've seen.
And she's a shorter girl, so like she really has the look. And basically, what ends up happening is she wears this to a premiere event, and the guy who plays Thorin Oakenshield spots her and comes up to her and says, hey, look, come over here, man. He's talking to Martin Freeman. And says, Martin, look over here. It's the real Thorin. This is the guy who plays Thorin calling Gina the real Thorin. And it was basically one of those moments where it was, yep, you win.
Yeah.
It's official now. It's like Christian Bale saying, you're Batman now. Like, this is legit. But yeah, she's kind of the biggest Hobbit fan I know. And that was an amazing moment. And just kind of showing that those actors, I don't know, them being more overseas actors like British and New Zealand, they seem to be a lot nicer to the fan base. When in the interactions that you had with them, were they?
Yeah, I guess so. Like, it depends on who you want to talk to. Like, Rhys Davies. Oh my God, you could listen to him for hours because he's such like a philosophical guy that you could just get him onto something and you're just like, oh, tell me more. I was talking to you, it was a couple years ago. I met Sean Astin and I went up to him and I was like, he was Two Flower in The Color of Magic, which is a Terry Pratchett. It was a movie. I told him like, I really liked you as this. So, but I also got into talking about New Zealand and living at Miramar and stuff like that, and we were just talking about living in the country over his movies or anything like that. So I mean, he was pretty down to earth in that sense, where he's just like, "Oh yeah, I remember that place." I'm like, "You were in the rich part." Yeah, I was in the rich part.
Yes, right. I'm an actor. Of course, I was in the rich part.
Yeah.
Did you see the movie? I'm kind of important.
So
But he was very super nice and chatty.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
It was awesome.
Oh.
And so yeah, just your jet setter life that I'm really jealous of. But also that kind of, wanderlust has kind of translated into you attend American cons as well.
Actually, I just went to my first one in
really?
in July. Yeah,
I didn't
July.
realize this was the first. I
Yeah,
thought there
yeah.
were more.
No, actually, it was because I met one of my friends from New Zealand. She's also a cosplayer, and we decided, we'll meet halfway. So we met in LA, and we went to Anime Expo, and so that was my first introductory to American cons, and I will hopefully be going to more soon.
So let's just kind of talk about that. And basically, I haven't had the pleasure of attending any American cons yet, but I've seen a few that, from the video footage I've seen, seem like a good time. And this one specifically has me curious because it's LA, it's the hotbed, right, of very like media focused type place.
Yeah.
What was a convention in LA like?
To be honest, I thought it was really poorly done.
Really?
Because there was a lot of people attending, and their more focus seemed to be on like the dealer's room, or what they called the exhibition room.
Okay.
And there was very few things for people to do. Like there wasn't many panels.
Really?
Yeah, there were people like Jessica Nigiri was there and stuff like that.
Oh, Nigiri.
And she they had like a panel, and they were only allowing like the first 100 people to go in.
Really?
And there was only maybe 8 things going on at a time, and you have over 70,000 people here.
Really?
How are you going to have 800 people out of 70,000? What are they doing?
Wow.
So it was really like there wasn't a lot to do.
Yeah, that's surprising considering that Comic-Con, the big one, happens around there, and panels are huge there.
Yeah, and that's why I was kind of surprised that there was very few panels. So
wow. So what about was like cosplay guests a focus at all? Like you're saying, Jess Nigri was there.
There was, I think, about 4 or like 6, between 4 and 6 actual written guests that were there.
Really?
I mean, there were people who were there, but not being paid to attend, kind of thing.
Right.
So
that's surprising.
Yeah.
Considering they tend to, I guess they're just masters of hype, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe they're portraying themselves really well. Meanwhile, you're running a convention that can hold 800 people in panels.
Yeah. Well, I had been like, other people had mentioned that wasn't really its greatest year either. So it's just my unluck that I guess
you got a bad year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas we're just kind of, maybe we're just used to a certain thing. Like our main convention is Anime North, and there is something scheduled every half hour for 3 days straight, arguably more off topic these days, in their choice of panels and activities, but that's another story. But no, it's really surprising considering that, these were conventions that were led to assume have money invested in them and time, big venues, and yet few activities. That's surprising. Was there a masquerade?
Yeah, there was a masquerade. That was actually paid to go attend the masquerade.
You had to pay to be in the masquerade.
No, pay to attend, watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not to be in. And there was like they had a dancing there too, and I think that was also pay to go. But there wasn't too much. I mostly stuck around in the manga gallery.
Yeah.
the library that was there. I was like, I haven't read this series before. Just read this here.
So it was like they actually had set up like you could take manga and just sit there and read it type of space.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was.
That's kind of cool.
So
don't get away with that in chapters here, really, do you?
No. I frown on that.
Which is funny because it's a manga. You can flip through it really quick and probably get the gist of it.
Oh, I've done it before.
Oh, yes, you have. Yes, you have. I like to do that with like a series I haven't seen in a while. Like if I see like I don't know if The Gray Man has been published recently. I know the manga went on hiatus for a while and stuff, but I love to. Or it's got like super slow releases.
Yeah.
I'll do that sometimes. I'll like grab like the latest one and like flip through really quick and go, oh well, that's weird. Okay. And
sometimes if I have to wait for the train to come, or well, now it's not so bad because the train comes every half hour rather than every hour.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to like go near the closest chapters to the station, and I would just sit there and read a manga and read the whole thing before the train comes.
Yeah.
So
that was like I'm not much of a manga reader anymore. That kind of just went away.
No, I'm still reading them, and I reread them. Like I've been recently rereading my Ranma half because I love that one.
I like every time I think Ranma 1 half, I think of. I have the first season of Inuyasha on DVD.
Oh, yeah, they're all the same voice actors.
And it's all the same voice actors, and it's just when this is like, standard def DVDs. If you put these in a DVD player now, you're getting 2 black bars on the side of your screen, right? They were not, like the aspect ratio was off then. And when you fire up those DVDs, you can't skip to the menu.
Yeah.
You actually have to like chapter through to skip the commercials, but it's all Viz properties, and when you put up that DVD, 3 of 4 previews are all by Rumiko Takahashi.
Yeah. Wow, she did awesome stuff.
She was, real popular in her day.
Check out Mermaid Forest.
Mermaid Forest?
That's a really good old one.
That's how you have that recommendation right there.
Yeah,
Mermaid Forest.
It's like a horror kind of one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's interesting because she's really like a rom-com writer almost.
Yeah, no, this is more like a little bit side.
Or in the case of Inuyasha,
kind of
a soap opera with the occasional fight.
No, Inuyasha, I will give, the dub is awesome for someone who's English. I don't know how it is in Japanese really, but in English, if you're listening to it, that's fine. It's great for cosplay, like when you're working on projects.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is the perfect radio show. They come in and are like, it's a miasma. Okay, that's the next thing is a miasma. Oh, it's Naraku. Okay, the villain now is
Everything
Naraku.
gets announced.
Everything is announced. It's perfect for radio. The whole entire show.
That might be a thing to do. Is we need to get like transcripts of Inuyasha episodes and just read them, and it'll like play out perfectly.
It does. You don't even have to look at the show. They tell you who is there.
It's like, and the fact that any special move he had a name that he had to call out. Did it work? If he didn't say it, would it work?
I don't know.
If he does not say Windscar, will it not happen?
But see, it wouldn't work if it was radio.
Because, the one character in Inuyasha who I think is worth a damn is Sesshomaru. He doesn't have to say Windscar to make it work.
Yeah, I know.
Is it because that it's David Kaye's voice of awesomeness just making it happen?
Maybe.
Yeah. I can't listen to that without going, oh, it's Trey's. Oh, tell me how you're going to conquer the world. Yeah. Tell Zex what to do.
Yeah. So.
People... on my list of people I would listen to read the phone book, David Kaye is definitely one of them.
Does he still attend cons?
I don't know. That's something I miss from conventions when voice actor panels were huge.
Yeah, sometimes they were really good.
Those kind of went away.
Yeah.
But and the best, of course, was, I don't know if you know anybody better, but best was always Scott McNeil.
Yes. It was awesome.
Scott McNeil, if you don't know your voice actors by name, Scott McNeil was like on everything in the 90s, like starting from, he was Duo in Gundam Wing. He's half the voice cast of Beast Wars.
Yeah, I love Beast Wars.
Literally, there are parts in Beast Wars where it is Scott McNeil talking to himself.
And talking to himself and talking to himself.
Yeah, it's like if it's Rat Trap, Dinobot, and Silverbolt in one scene,
and Waspinator,
that is one guy having a 4-way conversation with himself. Amazing. But like listening to Scott was like paying for I would have paid for it because it was stand-up comedy funny.
Yeah, he's a really funny guy.
He's a really funny guy, and he was Hohenheim in Full Metal Alchemist. Like there's like a voice that he's done that you can basically say to each generation of anime viewer, and you will know Scott's voice.
Yeah, he's been around the block.
Yeah, and just super funny guy. One of the first panels I ever walked in on, and it was by pure coincidence. I walked into a panel. And like I sit down, I'm like, oh, let's see what this is about. These guys are like, there's laughs coming out, And I didn't realize I was sitting in a room with Scott McNeil, Kirby Morrow, Brian Drummond, and just like, wow, these guys sound familiar. And then I realized, I'm like, oh God, this is like, that's Zex, and that's Duo, and that's, you know, the voice of Majin Buu. And like, I just like have a freak out because I realize what room I'm in.
Who's the voice that does Catra?
Catra was, oh shoot. I'm like, no, we'll come back to that if I think of it.
But whenever he goes and you mention Ranma half to him, he just screams out shampoo because he did the voice for Moose.
I want to say it's Brad Swayze.
But yeah, that's it.
Brad Swayze, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Sounds
another voice who is just in everything, especially from that time period.
Yeah.
Like 95 to 2000 was basically, there were only a couple studios back then.
Yes,
really. There was Sunrise, which is in Vancouver in Canada.
Yeah.
And ADV, which was based out of Austin at the time.
What about Toronto? Didn't they have one place there?
I don't remember Toronto.
They did they had a lot more for commercials than they
I think so.
for
And but yeah, back then it was, you know, the Ocean Group was doing all the Bandai stuff in Vancouver, and ADV did you know, Evangelion and Blue Submarine #6 and those kind of like really when anime started coming to home video.
Yeah.
There was just a mass, like these tiny studios doing dubs, like cranking them out.
Literal videos too.
Yeah.
VHS.
Yeah, VHS tapes. I remember I have the first 3 episodes of Gundam Wing on a single VHS. You get 5 on a DVD now, like in, you know, way better quality.
I had all of the Slayers on VHS.
Yes.
All in English dub though.
But yeah, like all of the
Lisa Ortiz is awesome. So
yeah,
that's
but
okay.
just so much of the same voice cast at the time because it was basically one, just because, you know, dubbing animes was not super in demand, like it wasn't a job that people went for.
No.
And also it in the case of ADV, that was because it was from the Austin acting community.
Yeah.
Which is something, going back to Scott, says it was in an interview on YTV actually, where he says, if you want to be a voice actor, learn how to act first.
Yeah.
Like, you get dramatic range through acting. It's like, you know, you can't just be good at voices. There is a certain talent to it first. So that is advice from Scott McNeil to anybody who wants to be a voice actor, is just learn how to act.
Yeah. Oh, it makes sense, right?
Right? But, yeah, he was definitely a funny guy. And then the next day in that same con, after that random panel I stumbled into, I went on to a Gundam Guys panel.
Oh.
And this was when Gundam Seed was either very near to finishing or just finishing. And so so Scott was there again, and then it was Sam Vincent, who is the voice of Athrun in Gundam Seed.
Okay.
And I'm just blanking on some names right now, but it was the guys who voice Mu, Kira, and Athrun. And so, yeah, Sam Vincent, Matt Hill, I think, is the voice of Kira, and I always blank on the guy who plays
Matt Hill is
Mu.
funny though.
It's Trevor, I think, is his name. But yeah, Matt Hill was definitely in a lot of stuff then too.
Yeah,
But
he was Kiro, I think.
that would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but this was it was a Gundam specific panel, but it was hilarious that Scott was the only one from old school Gundam.
Yeah.
He was Duo. He was the only guy from Gundam Wing.
Yeah.
And then it was, you know, Kira, Mu, and Athrun. Best part of that panel, 2 best parts of that panel. One, the token "can you talk to my friend on the phone" bit happened. So there's, you know, Duo talking to somebody on the phone. And there was also 3 good moments, actually. So the next one was somebody asked if they could have a hug from Scott.
Yeah, well, he would do that anyway.
And so he does that. Big production of it, of course, too.
Yep.
And basically, and then there's Sam and Matt just back there going, just real mood music about it.
Yeah.
And that was just hilarious to me. And then basically, this is one of those things where I basically say, it came directly from the source, so it's true. Matt and Sam said that Kira and Athrun are totally gay for each other. Because, like, you watch that show, they're obsessed with each other more than any of the events that happen. It's just, Kira, Athrun. And it's like, there's the whole thing where they swap girlfriends, and yet they're still obsessed with each other, and it came directly from the source. So that was a great moment too. And I missed that from conventions. The voice actor panels were great because they were so off topic.
Yeah, they were. They never always. They were more about them and their anecdotes and stuff like that. So it was fun for that.
Yeah. And, they've just gone away.
Yeah, well,
Why do you think that's happened?
It's probably because more people are not liking... They've gone away from dubs. Because when we were younger, we were kind of forced onto it because that was the only thing we could get, right? We could only get the VHS. Well, that only comes with one audio.
Right.
We're, only had so much on the TV that was offered to us because the internet wasn't really a thing.
No.
Or at least downloading was like a year to get something. On dial-up.
Yes. Yep.
But so we were very immersed into the dub. Rather now we can have a choice. Oh, I can watch it in Japanese. Why do I want to watch it in English when I can watch it in the original? Yeah,
and especially with the advent of like services like Crunchyroll, which I love. It's like how I watch pretty much all my anime now is because that's a simulcast thing. You're getting it next day.
Yeah.
And it's just way easier to, have your translators throw subs on it and get it out there.
Rather than waiting like 2 months just for another 3 episodes.
And even longer because of licensing.
Yeah.
Like, licensing is this terrible red tapey process that is really what... Like, I kind of have this funny thing where I'm always I try to stay up to date on things as much as I can, and then I think, oh, maybe I'll go pick up Otaku USA. Kind of the big publication for anime stuff. But you realize very quickly when you even just look at the covers, like, oh, this is for the North American audience. The guys who they don't see it till it's in North America.
Yeah.
And, they're covering stuff from Naruto Shippuden that I saw 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad because there were definitely shows that I thought had amazing dubs.
Yeah.
Like, I prefer to watch with the dub, and it's just kind of going away.
Yeah. Well, and then so is the popular dub voice actors.
Yeah.
So
that's, it makes sense. Why they're not around anymore is because, dubs aren't popular anymore.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
Sad. I miss a lot of those guys.
I was so happy though when I found out that this was a while ago, of course, but Slayers, because I had the VHS, so I watched it all in the dub. They redid, they came back.
The re-release, the remaster type of thing.
No, it wasn't just remastered. They made 2 more seasons.
Oh, really?
Like a whole added on to the series.
That's cool.
They got about most of the original cast to dub it again.
That's awesome.
So it's like, oh yeah.
That's
nostalgic for me.
Yeah, the original cast is like, I miss a few of them. Like with the Evangelion movie reboots, there's only like 4 people who came over, and even so, in the case of John Swayze, who's the voice of Gendo, he wasn't the original Gendo.
Yeah.
So like we're talking original cast, it's 3 people. It's Spike Spencer, who's Shinji, Allison Keith, her name has changed since back then. Allison Keith, who's Masato, and Tiffany Grant, who's Asuka. And well, you can't replace Asuka. Tiffany, not only she is obsessed with that character, like she maintains ownership of it, but also because she made that character happen. Like the German that Asuka said in the Japanese version was just nonsense, but Tiffany Grant actually speaks German. So she came up with all the coherent German dialogue. Yeah. But it's also like there's a great DVD extra on the Platinum Edition of Evangelion where you see her little toy room. It's just a room full of Asuka stuff. Like, try and take that character away from her. But just coming back to, like, that's really the only original cast of Eva that's still
kicking
and working on stuff. And, kind of sad, but you understand why. Yeah. Yep. But also, just makes you remember watching anime in our time. We had that wonderful YTV block on Fridays called Bionics.
Yeah. Oh, it was something else before that, wasn't it?
I don't think it had a name.
Yeah, it just had like the anime time.
Yeah, and then they like actually branded it as a time and called it Bionics. Yeah, it was all Bandai properties. Yeah, it was Inuyasha, which was sort of Bandai, but isn't Bandai or loosely related. Yeah, then. And Gundam Seed.
Escaflowne was on it for a time.
Escaflowne, I watched Escaflowne on WB, on Kids WB, because they played Escaflowne and Card Captors. Oh, not Card Captor Sakura. It
Card captor.
Card captors, which is
very
the North
edited
American version. Yeah, it's kind of you almost want to tell kids about what Sailor Moon was originally. Like
But it
there'd be
was
gay
so
folks
good.
in it. There's a lot of interesting transgender stuff with the liver things.
Yeah, that never even got over.
That never made it to North America because
never touched it.
Which it probably will get through now.
Yeah, but like I don't even think it would have even mattered when we were younger because we didn't even. A lot of like adults like, oh no, it's worse. But like as a child, I would be like, okay, he turned into a man.
It's like we're just fascinated by the fact that magic is happening.
I know.
Right?
That's
it's time for a fight. Cool.
Like, not anybody even mentioned the fact that like, oh yeah, we can totally tell she's just wearing a tiara. She's the only blonde girl with buns in her hair. How does no one recognize her?
It's a very Superman thing, right? Like, I just can't get past the glasses. Yeah. She's wearing a tiara, and she's still clumsy and talking in the same voice.
And she's still technically wearing one of those sailor uniforms.
Exactly. Like, just the skirt got shorter, right? and the bow got bigger.
Yep.
But, have you been watching, on that note, Sailor Moon Crystal? I've
kind of been waiting until it's, like, all finished. Because I've read the manga, so I'm just like, I just want to steam through it, so.
Yeah. We're on, they're finishing up the Dark Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
The most recent episode on Crunchyroll is the finale of the fight for the Dark Kingdom stuff. So we're finished an arc.
Okay.
That's
not too bad.
It was done in 13 or 14 episodes, which I was surprised because I remember that show taking longer.
Yeah, it did take longer.
Yeah.
Kind of added on to it, though.
But
because the manga's pretty short. It's not that extensive.
There's various, people forget that was really one of the shows that was broken up into arcs.
Yeah.
Like hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Sailor Moon Crystal is going to be doing all of them because, people are re-excited about Sailor Moon again. Yeah. So why not? We'll keep going.
Let it go.
And, but yeah, just kind of, I've been going for about 50 minutes now. So we'll just kind of round this out with just general questions I like to ask. Any shows that you're into right now that maybe people haven't heard of?
I just got finished. I cannot say the Japanese name to save my life, so I'm just gonna say the English one. I just finished watching. It's like it's been out for a while, but From a New World.
From a New World. Okay.
It's kind of like a mystery sort of anime, and it was kind of good. I didn't mind watching that. It was based off of a novel, so kind of like Another. If you heard of that one. I
have heard of that one. I haven't gotten around to watching.
So
I'm slacking on my viewing. So.
But that one, that's good. I'm just pretty much watching all the old stuff because I've been feeling pretty nostalgic. Like Ranma Half, gotta watch and read all of Ranma Half.
I've been doing it too. I've been like a lot of like digging out stuff and watching the first volume of something, going, I remember that. Like I did that with Escaflowne, with Gundam Wing, and doing a lot of that. And but the one that I've been watching right now, and I'm probably going to do a review of it. I haven't done a review in a while, but I think I'm going to start doing full series reviews as opposed to like first 3 episodes teaser type stuff. Because what's basically happened with a lot of shows is they start off strong and finish weak.
Oh, yeah, they do that. Yeah.
So I think I'm going to switch over to full series reviews, but I'm in one right now called Cross Ange Rondo of Angel and Dragon.
Okay.
And this is like... It's hilarious because it's clearly a blatant ripoff of stuff, but it is the weirdest mash of ripoffs to the point where it's almost original. Where basically it is about a world where people can basically use magic.
Okay.
And anybody who can't use magic is considered like defective, and they get shipped away.
Okay.
And so what ends up happening is the princess of this kingdom is found to be one of these people called Norma.
Oh, okay.
And what they do with Norma is they don't kill them, which is what I immediately assumed. They actually ship them off to this island, and it only happens in women. They ship them off to this island where they are trained to become soldiers, and they fight dragons, and these dragons like come in from another dimension. So basically it is this kind of it's very ishi at times, and the first couple episodes have some girl on girl questionable sexual activities, and it's basically very ishi looking girls in very skimpy flight suits. I don't know why they're combat ready, but whatever. So Ishi girls in mechs that are straight out of Macross, like they transform from planes to robots.
Oh, okay.
Right? It's just like I said, it looks like the characters look like Gundam, the mechs are Macross, and then they fight dragons with mechs.
Okay.
It's like so much happening all at once that like if you don't stop and realize that, oh, you just ripped off 3 different shows and put them together, it's almost an original thing. But like I'm so fascinated by it that I'm watching it.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so if you really want a show that is like you want mechs, but you don't want the mechs fighting each other, and you want just like a lot of pretty girls with ridiculous proportions, except for your token lolly characters, of course.
Yeah.
Cross Ange Rondo of Angel and Dragon, definitely. It's like a why am I watching this? I got to keep watching this kind of show.
Okay.
And other than that, just trying to keep up with stuff. Like I had a lot of short series that ended. There were like 12 episode ones that I wish were longer.
Oh, okay.
Like there was one called Witchcraft Works.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good, and it was a funny thing of the guy is the damsel.
Oh, okay.
Like he's the guy who keeps getting rescued.
Yeah.
And I thought it was refreshing, and Akame ga Kill.
Oh, okay.
Was the other one that which I might do a longer thing on it, but started strong, finished weak.
I heard lots of people watching
It like it was very dark and grip suspenseful kind of on top of it being an action show, and then it kind of degraded into becoming almost like tournament pairings.
Oh,
Like you have the two sides, and like it's like they're gonna pair off and fight.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of weak.
It became that by the end, which was disappointing because when God knows when we were younger, like how big were tournament shows?
Oh my God, they
like,
took forever.
Right? But how popular were those? Like, Yu-Gi-Oh was a giant tournament show.
Yeah.
And Shaman
like the
King,
whole series.
Shaman King, which is a show I love. I like the manga better than the anime.
Yeah, definitely.
But it was a tournament show. Yu Yu Hakusho, Zatch Bell,
Dragon Ball
at time, like original Dragon Ball. Yeah, all those tournament shows.
Yeah.
And it's just like the fact that show became that was like, oh God, I've seen this to death. But
yeah.
But they get points for originality or at least having the bravery to kill off main cast.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They will do that. Like,
yeah.
I will say, ballsy in that way. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been watching other than keeping up with new stuff. Like, I still watch Naruto Shippuden weekly, other than when they get into filler. I'm really skipping filler, like, same with Fairy Tail.
Oh, I haven't been watching the show. I only read the manga.
The show's pretty good, but they're into this. They started into the second series.
Oh, okay.
Which is like it's not new. It's just picking up where they left off with kind of different animators. But they kind of finished the arc they got into, and now we're in like a 20 episode filler arc.
Oh.
Yeah. Long running shows, they're fun, eh?
Yeah. I get tired of them.
I know.
Where were the days back with like Samurai Champloo and Cowboy Bebop? Done in a series.
Did you just kind of one last thing here? Just being old men and women shaking our canes, current anime, and how you kids get to watch things whenever you want. We had to wait for stuff to be on TV. And there was a little gem of kind of an independent network that happened for a while with certain providers called Razor. Did you ever see that network?
No.
Well, Razor was just kind of like, it was very like, they were going for kind of a punk rock thing.
Oh, okay.
Like they were like they were the edgy guys, right?
Okay.
And it was all the artwork was very like graffiti and punk rock. But they had kind of a small anime block on the weekends. And this was the first place I saw Trinity Blood.
Oh, okay.
I would watch Trinity Blood every week there. So they got a lot of Gonzo titles is what happened.
Yeah.
Gonzo Productions no longer around. Blame internet piracy. And so they played Trinity Blood, Samurai Champloo, Samurai 7, and Basilisk.
Oh, okay.
But that was like the greatest thing ever. Like I think by then, I don't know if I think Bionic, it might have been the time of Bionics too, but it was like Fridays I watched all the Bandai stuff. And then Saturdays, I watched all the stuff from ADV and Gonzo.
Yeah.
And that was just the golden age because there was actually anime on TV.
Yeah.
Which, off the top of your head right now, who's a network playing anime right now?
I don't know.
The last thing I saw on TV for anime was I saw reruns of Death Note on the Mystery Network.
Really?
I am not even kidding.
Oh, that's funny.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. But yeah, so just kids, be grateful that you have streaming services and, direct to you anime at your pace, and even like having access to DVDs in the way you do now.
I know.
Like,
Oh man.
and that's the worst thing for us is some of the series that we want they never picked up to get on DVD.
Oh no. Or they only like made like maybe they only put out 2 episodes on the VHS, and then like the last episode never came out.
Yeah, it was terrible. So just kids, be grateful that you have access to stuff. And I think that's where we're going to be wrapping up there. Kind of an interesting viewpoint into 2 old otakus talking about kind of what conventions used to be like and what anime used to be like. And
So old.
Oh no, we're so old. And
I'm older than you. What are you complaining about?
we got what, 2-year difference?
Yeah, I think so.
It's 2 years. Yeah, but we're both over. Well, I'm almost 25, so
I'm over that.
Yeah, you're over that. But yeah. So yeah, I think that's where we're gonna wrap it up there. So thank you for listening, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. We're just kind of testing it out with this first one, and thank you to Pat for indulging me and helping me make costume stuff today.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you for that. It's gonna be fun making stuff again. And so Pat does have a Facebook page now. Finally.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, it is Patty Patch. You spelled it kind of weird.
It's Patty Pat TCH.
Yes, so Patty Patch.
Because the TCH means the chosen hero. I may or may not be a Legend of Zelda fan.
And you're a Gaia Online veteran too, weren't you?
Pardon?
Were you a Gaia Online veteran too? That sounds like a very Gaia thing.
Gaia. Oh yes, I was on Gaia. Yeah, back when it was just called Gaia though.
Yeah. But so you can find her on Facebook under Patty Patch. Or Patty Pat TCH.
Yeah.
I will include a link to that. She's kind of still getting stuff started and putting things up there, but I'm going to be helping that and putting pictures on there for her, taking pictures and putting them up there.
Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff.
If I can convince her to be in one of our videos soon, you will have to. She is a lovely young lady and very, very talented.
Thank you.
And you can always find our stuff under facebook.com/the Otaku Crypt and Otaku Crypt on Twitter. And hopefully we will have otakucrypt.com up and running soon enough. But until then, this is Joshy T and my guest Pat.
Hi. Bye.
Signing off, and we'll see you next time.